Oh, nobody can hear me. Haha, there we go. Sorry about that. So I'll repeat. Welcome to today's podcast. This is Figured Out Fridays. We're co-hosted here with Nick. Nick is a colleague I've worked with quite a bit, and he is joining us for today's podcast. Welcome again for the second time. uh,
Thanks.
Today again we have a little format of just kind of relaxing and hanging out and talking tech and talk about random applications that we see in our day-to-day jobs or applications we have in our personal lives that may help you with your guys' personal lives and or business. So with that being said, Nick, you got any apps out of your mind that you know about that you like and you use on a daily?
Uh, well, right now it's a lot of SQL still.
Okay.
Um,
So a lot of
as you know, I've
SSMS and
had you,
still.
yeah, I've had you help me out with a lot of little projects where we're using kind of antiquated, older systems, and as we're developing apps in-house, we use a lot of SQL still.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but like, do you have like any like neat apps like I don't know, little runtimes you've downloaded or something like GitHub or anything like that that have been helpful for you on your daily?
Um, recently, I'd say recently Nimble. Um, there's was it dbeaver?
Yep, that's a good one. That's a nice little multi database connection utility.
Yeah, it allows me to do a few workarounds on the fly um,
Love
when
it.
you don't have access.
Yeah, using like SSH type of connections to enter into more secured areas and then connecting to it.
Yeah, yeah. Since I don't have permissions, let's say, to some of the things or access because I'm not a regular user, I'm more on the admin side. I don't have standard permissions,
Right.
but I can essentially test what an end user is going to see by just looking at the data sets uh, through little processes there.
Roger. Yeah, obviously we don't want to expose any kind of in-house secrecies or anything like that, but just general overviews.
Yeah.
Um, I know that I introduced you to NimbleText the other day, and I showed you how it does like pattern recognition. I mean, might as well like download it and show the people here how it works. So it's really useful for like if you're working with CSV data or you're more importantly like maybe we're querying a database and you're trying to get data out and you're trying to get it into or use a CSV to like import into a database or something of this nature. Um, so I don't really have a test database that doesn't have. Oh yeah, I could use sample comp. No, I can't use that because that has proprietary data for another company that I can't work with. Demo? What do I have in demo? Uh, oh, you know what? I have. Okay, let me go ahead and. No, I can't do that one. I know my workstation that we were working on last podcast has like a demo type of database, I think. Because we're loading in Smartsheet data. That's the remember how I did that Smartsheet data thing for the system. So I signed up for a test, and we did that as the first podcast. So it showed how we can use C# to leverage that the SDK. So yeah, I guess I could use that. So it'll be kind of silly, but we'll do it anyways. Um, Actually, you know what? We can do it in the reverse. I will do that. Let me go ahead and queue this up. Let's go and transition over here. You guys should be able to see the desktop now. So we can basically just go look up, like, we'll close all this stuff here. We're working with the Polyhaven. That actually did get solved out from the last podcast. We were working on doing, we had a 3D designer on our last podcast, Nick, that, did a lot of texture downloads. and he really wanted to have like an automation thing where you can like pop in a website and just like have a download happen like for all the textures, so he then can delete the ones he doesn't want. And so we made a utility that did that. We got stuck on the download portion because it was actually kind of tricky. Um, they were basically building the assets and building the zip file in C sharp or in JavaScript in real time. So it was basically going and grabbing assets and stuffing them into a zip stream and then basically forcing a download through the zip stream, which is really cool because it actually happens all on client side. So it actually happens on your side as the end user. So it doesn't use any of the bandwidth of the server, which is really kind of cool. So they're using the CDN bandwidth instead of using the server bandwidth, which I found really kind of cool.
That
Uh,
is.
uh, so we're gonna go ahead and just go grab. I guess just gonna grab a CSV file of some sort, just random data off the web. Let's fire up Edge. I don't care. And we'll go to. I don't know. Let's do like CSV states. There should be plenty of that. There you go. List of state CSV. Oh, Nick's camera went black. Oh, but your camera's still. Nope, your camera disappeared. I gotta figure that out. Why is that happening? Oh, it's back. Okay, we just had a little glitch there. Okay, so here's like a CSV of just like states. And so what you can do is if you grab Nimble, like for example, Nimble text, again, as you know, Nick, you went through this, but
Mhm.
for the people here, so there's a program out there called Nimble Text, and big shout out to Matthew Ron DePaula. If you ever see my videos and you come across this, you're the one that introduced me to Nimble Text, so I want to say a big thank you to that. It does a lot of stuff for me on a daily basis, working with a lot of. So it's a runtime application, so you actually don't need to install it. You can just download it and run it, and it will run. So you can stick it anywhere on your machine that's portable. That's what a runtime application basically is. And so we can come back over here and copy all of these states into this top section. And basically, when you're doing like an insert statement into SQL, so we have, for example, the whole state and the abbreviation. So let's say we create a table inside of SQL here. Let's go ahead and go to let's create a new database altogether. Create database nimble dembo. All right. And use nimble demo. And then we're going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to create a table called states. And it's going to have a ID, identity, 1, 1. Oops, I got to give it a data type int, primary key, not null, by in default that's by primary key, but whatever. Then we'll call this full state varchar 1000, whatever. And then abbreviation varchar 1000. All right, so we've created a table here, and let's say we want to insert data into that table, and we want to insert this list. Now, we could go in, and there is an option if you right-click on your database and go to task, there's an option to import data, which is the long method of doing it. But there's also the ability just to like write an insert statement. So like insert into states, and I want to insert in the full state and the abbreviation. And then I have this list. Now, the problem is that this list is a CSV file, and yeah, you can't just write, you can't write it into it like that. So one thing is I want to definitely clean up, for example, the double quotes, because the double quotes are not good. So I'm just going to toss this over into a notepad file. And just good old-fashioned notepad on Windows 11, which is way better than Windows 10, by the way. They did a wonderful job, at least compared to Windows 10. So they have a replace function in Notepad. So I'm just going to do a double quote and replace it with a single quote. I'll replace all, which allows me to cheat a lot here. So in the nimble text, I can now just go ahead and put this in there. And you basically, it's pattern design. So basically you just do like a comma, an open parentheses, $0, comma, $1, and then calculate. And you'll see that it creates this automatically formatted down, which allows me basically to now grab this and toss it into SQL essentially with a very minor thing. So if I copy this and I go back over to SQL, I can now do values, paste my list, and then just remove this first comma. And now I have an entire insert statement. Invalid call name abbreviation. I guess I spelt it wrong. Oh yeah, abbreviation. There you go. So I inserted 62 rows. So if I comment this out and then go back and just do a select star from states, I have all my states right there. I imported actually the first row, so I probably should have deleted that, but whatever. No harm, no foul. Delete from states where full state equal to state. Bye. There you go. So now I have my states here, and I just took that CSV and was able to import it into SQL pretty quickly. And that could be from arbitrary data. I don't remember what data were we importing before. A unique set of users, right? Is what it was from an abstract.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so that's a fun little app called Nimble Text. Really good working if you're a data analyst or working any kind of data on consistently. That's one way of doing it. What else here? Any other apps you got demo or go off on the handle like this?
No, but
Or you got a
thinking
problem at
about it,
work we can solve for you?
yeah, I do know of an upcoming project with our contact center. They want to onboard a new process where instead of sending people emails, which they're not going to read,
Mm-hmm.
trying out text messages. The
Okay.
problem they're running into is identifying a window of time to text people. So let's say we want to do it between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. in the person's local time zone.
Uh-huh.
Right now, the way the conversation is going is if you take the person's home address or their area code and determining what time zone they're in. Because, like myself, I have a different state, Oregon. I live in Washington, so it doesn't really line up. So they're going to want to use my home address as the primary, if that makes sense.
No. Can you maybe walk me through
Okay.
that a little more again?
So 503, that's a Portland Metro
Okay.
area code.
Okay.
If I live in Vancouver, Washington, even though it's the same Pacific time zone, there's going to be individuals who might have a California uh, mailing address or phone number,
Uh-huh.
and they live, and something on their account shows that they're in a different state. So let's say they live in Colorado.
Okay.
So California phone number, Colorado address.
Okay.
They want to contact the person at the earliest time possible because that's most likely. It's less likely they're going to have a Colorado phone number and live in California.
But I mean, if you have your address as the physical address that they're living in,
Mhm.
wouldn't that be the time zone you should use?
Correct. But they need to build a table or database to filter through that and determine for them which is the max value that they want to use. But they don't have an existing database to say, okay, all these states, this time zone,
Oh, that's
all these
easy.
area codes, this
That
time zone.
that should be very easy. Uh, So we can go here. There should be someone who's created a data a CSV of such. We'll do like GIST zip code to time zone US. Sorry guys, I have kids in the background. I apologize if you hear that. All right, sorry about that, guys. You probably heard me yell, "Hey there" as well. I apologize. I forgot that I can't mute microphones on the fly. Anyways, so this is super time zone, get time zone, blah blah, time zone mapping US. Okay, so let's find out. Zip to time zone. Okay, so there's actually someone who has a zip to time zone. Zip to time zone. This is a gem. Time zone strings are based upon active support time zones, includes basic DST information. So this is going to be used with Ruby on Rails because it's a gem. We don't want that. Zip to time zone, like I said, there's a GIST right here. Zip to time zone CSV. And here is a prime example of where we can use nimble text again. So we have this gigantic thing where there is a zip code, there is a city, there is a state, and there is a time zone. And I'm assuming there's going to be quite a few records due to the fact that it's every zip code in the US. And this is actually comes from USPS. I know that for a fact, by the way. So they just stole this data and posted it. But yeah, USPS actually has a published CSV as well that has the same thing. But essentially, you could theoretically at this point have this data. So we're just going to go ahead. I'm not going to actually use nimble text for this because there's way too many records. I'd have to split it every 1,000 records, as we talked about doing a bulk insert. You have to split every 1,000. It's a SQL limitation. So we're going to go ahead and split this, or just save this as a CSV. So we're just going to go open up Notepad. Let's have some fun here. Control A, Control V, Control S. Let's go and throw it in our downloads folder, and we'll call it zip to time zone CSV. Save it as all files, save, and then we'll go ahead and import this using the OG way of importing data. So we're going to go ahead and nibble demo, tasks, import data. And we're going to go next. And we'll go flat file here. And browse. And we'll go to, for example, downloads and change this to CSV. There we go. We'll go to delimited. The text qualifier is a single quote, as it was in the list. Advanced, highlight all columns, make them 500. Let's go to a preview. Looking good. I guess we should probably make this guy here. Oh, first off, we have no column name header. So it should be column 0. So we'll have to specify that. As well as we should probably specify that the first column is an int. Well, no, no, it's American time zone. So technically it should be an int. But if you were working with Canada or another country, it could potentially be a varchar, because they do have those like weird zip codes that they want to use letters for whatever reason. Hi, Canada. So let's go ahead. We'll just leave it a text string. That's fine for now. And we'll say important to SQL Server. Nibble text. Yep. We're going to go in that folder or that database. We're going to go and go to that table name. That's fine. We're just going to go ahead and change our destination column name to zip code. Shoot, I don't remember which one it is. So zip code city, state, and time zone. Okay, and hit OK. Preview our mapping out. There you go. And next, and finish, and that should import. We got an error. What's your error? What are you erroring about, boy? 11 total, 10 success. Why? What are you erroring about? Let's see what did we get anything at all? Tables. Select top 1,000. Yeah, we definitely got data. I'm gonna assume there's gotta be some kind of like a city with an apostrophe in it or something like that. That's throwing it for a loop. There was, it said like 11 errors, right? 11 total, 0 success. What's the report? View report. Could not open global shared memory to communicate with performance yellow. Whatever. I don't care. Let's go turn on line entries here. Of course it doesn't have line entries. Come on, Microsoft. It is 2024. Notepad, you did a great job making it look more beautiful. But for crying out loud, add line entries at a minimum, please. I mean, come on. Okay, there's a settings wheel. Maybe I haven't explored this. App theme, you have fonts, you have word wrap, you have opening files when Notepad starts. Where is the line entry or line numbers? Please, Microsoft, what is going on? You're killing me, Smalls. Okay, we can just import this into to Visual Studio Code. Now we have line numbers. Okay, so we have 41,956 records. How many got inserted into here is the question. Let's just do select count 1. 7,740. That's a lot less. Okay, so there is some kind of silly mistake here. Let's go back. Okay, so we go to advanced. These are all going to be string 500. Okay, previews looking good. Data rows to skip is 0. Qualifier is a single quote. We are going to go ahead and modify this file and just get rid of all single quotes. Just to make life easier. Actually, I'll take all single quotes and I'll replace it with double quotes. So, okay. So it should be go. What do you mean, no results? Did it already replace them? Wait, was this file already single quoted or no? Okay. Why do you say you didn't have results? You silly Visual Studio Code. All right. Let's redo that again. Put this as double quotes. Next. Mapping should be already wrote out. We're gonna go ahead and delete rows in destination table. Okay. We should have ability to drop table too. Create destination table. There should be a way to drop on as well. Preview. It's not. I don't know why it's not there. Edit mappings. We'll just go ahead and delete. That's fine. We already have the mappings already done, so finish. Errored again. Data flow task 1 processing import. The columns delimiter for column 1 was not found. I think I told reload the file probably. That's what I'm gonna assume. I think I have to reload the file because I changed it after the fact. And then I'm probably gonna have to edit this again. No, I don't. What are you talking about? Okay, you know what? We're gonna close this. No. We're gonna get... No, this should work fine. This should work fine. Let's go back. We're just gonna delete from here. Execute. It imported a lot more that time. 154,000. Sorry, 15,000. Okay, so let's go ahead and we just drop that table. Let's drop the whole table. Drop table. All right, bye-bye. Let's go ahead and import. Next. Flat file. Next. Browse. CSV. Oop. Browse. CSV. Delimiter text qualifier is that. Double quote. Advanced. Highlight all. Oh, general. Column does not have. Highlight all. Import 500. Should be plenty. Preview. Looking good. SQL. Yep. Next. Edit mappings. Zip code. City. State. Time zone. Okay. Drop and recreate destination table. Okay. Next. Finish. Finish. Already erroring. Yeah, well, that would make sense because it's not there, but it shouldn't keep you from doing your job. So it got errored again here. Column delivered for column 1 was not found. It's saying that it can't find the double quote as a column delimiter. I didn't ask for you to delimit by that though. I asked you to delimit by comma. General. It's delimited. Row header delimiter. It's a carriage return LF. Rows to skit. It's delimited. You know what? I'm going to import this. Oh, I don't know if I can. How many records is this? I should know this off the top of my head. Do you know, Nick, off the top of your head, the max rows Excel allows?
I know it used to be 10,000.
Yeah, I don't remember. I should know this off the top of my head. Max rows Excel. 1 million. Okay. It's definitely more than what we got. So I'm going to open up this file in Excel. And then I'm going to resave it as a tab delimited file because this is making me mad. File, save as, browse. There should be a tab delimited option, right? Text tab delimited. There it is. All right. Save. There you go. Import data. Close that. What? I sure want S. Drop table by import. You can see I even do this every day and I'm still struggling. Hence why writing a SQL query is a lot easier. Or you can just use that utility I have on GitHub. I guess I could have done that. I could have used my own utility. It's not designed
All
for.
circles back.
Yeah, it's not really designed for this, but I mean theoretically, right? uh, let's see if we get a preview. It looks fine. Get rid of that. Advanced highlight 500. Next. Do that. Next. Edit mappings. Zip code. City. State. Time zone. What is going on, dude? It is not like life right now. Can I open the data file? Oh, I have it open in Excel. Womp womp. Rookie
you
mistake.
you were testing me and I failed. I'm sorry.
Rookie mistake. There we go. Finally. Wow. That took me way too long. Uh, I failed the test. Okay, so we got all that. So what we were talking about, for example, is like we have a create, like for example, a user. We'll call it user for this, right?
Mhm.
Table users, and then we'll have an ID column and identity 1, primary key not null, first name varchar 100, last name varchar 100, I don't know, address or city. Obviously we'd have the address in here as well, right?
Mhm.
But at city varchar 100, state, name varchar. I hate doing state because it was a reserved word in SQL, so I always use like state name or full state just because I don't want to have to put brackets. I hate brackets. I just like typing quickly. State name varchar 100. City name, we'll give it 200. Maybe it's more than that. Whatever. State name would be 100, 200, whatever. I think it's a state abbreviation they use anyway, so whatever. And then zip code varchar 100 should be plenty. And then again, we don't know the time zone, right? In this particular instance, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So we'll go, and we'll do insert, and then we'll do first name is not null, last name is not null, city is not null, state is not null, because all that has to be provided. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we'll do insert into users, and then we'll do values of first name, last name, city, state name, zip code. That's all we got, right? First name, last name, city, state, and zip. Yep, okay. And then values, and we'll put you and I in. So we'll do Mike Daniels, was it city? Cape Coral. You guys know where I live now. Oh no, it's out in the ether. State name. I think they have abbreviations, right? Is what they use. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll do FL, and then zip code is 33914. Okay. So then we'll do issue U, comma, and then Nick. I'm gonna make your last name Smith. They don't need to know anything about you, buddy. And you already disclosed that you live in Vancouver, so sucks to be you.
Canada. Hey,
What's the zip code there?
trick question. They don't use zip codes.
What do you mean you don't use zip codes in Washington?
I don't use zip codes. I don't know my own address.
Ah, okay. Just say
You
you don't
figured
want
this
to
out
put
earlier.
it. Okay. Do I have to go look this up? Let's go put a random zip code in Washington.
98686.
9 8686.
Yes.
Okay. So now, for example, if we do this, what? Oh, okay. So now if I do select star from users, I can do also you join, what I call it again? Zip to time zone. Join that zip time zone on u dot state name equals to time zone dot state. I don't know what it has. Yeah, I put state there. I'm a liar. I used state over in that one. Everyone probably caught that. Like, you liar. U dot city equals to time zone dot city. And then you can do, for example, u dot star, comma, time zone dot time zone. Time zone cannot be bound. Oh. There you go. So now you know what time to access those users, right? And then you would just do, I guess, distinct. Just make life easy. So you only have 2 records. Oh my god, I can type, I promise you. So there you go. Right? That makes sense?
Yep.
So you were asking how we could do that, but there you go. So now you can take that back to your team and say, hey, we figured it out. Just go grab a list off of GitHub.
It'll save them a lot of money.
Yep. They won't care.
No. They'll just be glad it's done.
So what else you got on your plate that you can think of?
I don't know. That was today's problem. Let's see.
Today's problem, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow it's going to be something else for sure. Let's see.
I have a pretty cool app I was working with called Paperless. Have you ever heard of this app?
No.
I don't think I've got it set up yet fully. I was working on it and then like I had to bork it and then yeah. You guys get an inner looking at my home lab. Ooh. Alright. So here's Paperless NG. I was setting it up and something happened and I think I borked it. I don't know what happened. I can't remember where I was at, but I'm just gonna start it up because what I was doing was I was connecting it to I have a NAS over here. This FS00 is my NAS, it's my file storage basically, locally, and that file storage there. Oh, you guys can't see this. I forgot. This is not on that internal server. Let's go ahead. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Hold on. I don't know how I have the networking set up for this VM, so bear with me. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Okay. Okay. Well, that would make sense. It's not going to get an address to anything, so. Yeah, this is secured out. Let's bridge the adapter. Let's bring it into my network. So let's go and let's not use NAT. Let's use bridge on host. Come on, give me an IP address. Thank you. All right, so I have 32, so I can now go over here and go to control panel, network, change it. Actually, I think it actually sets the DNS server automatically, so I should be able to just like, whop. Nope. Guess not. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay. What information can you give me, good sir? Yeah, it's not using the right DNS. Let's change that. Properties. You don't need to use IPv6. We don't want to get hacked. Did you see that, by the way? The new IPv6 hack that's out, the zero-click hack.
I've seen a lot of headlines on it. I haven't bothered to read it yet.
Yeah. If you get a chance, go look at Dave's Garage. He does a really good job explaining it.
I know Dave.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And he does a really good job explaining it. And basically, it's a zero-click attack, and all they have to do is send a packet request to any IPv6 address, and that's hosting Windows, and they immediately have access to your machine. It's like an overflow and underflow buffer state, and they immediately have access to your machine. It's ridiculous. Okay. Let's refresh here. We should be able to get to it now. Why? Why can't you get to that? Is my VLANs not configured correctly? Probably. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and say screw it and show you my other screen. I don't care. That should go probably black. I don't feel like configuring all this. Don't want to give you more insights than I already have, you know? We're gonna go to window capture, so we don't show you everything at least. Yeah, that'll work. It's not for some reason sizing correctly. Oh. Transform, fit the screen, drag it behind stuff. There you go. All right, you guys should be able to see the screen now, hopefully, if I did my job right. So this is my paper. This is my Proxmox server. This is my home lab, basically. And then this home lab essentially allows me to, run a bunch of services. And I have a new Portainer that I try a lot of stuff out on. But you know what Portainer is? Sorry, Nick. I don't mean to talk past
I do
that.
not. Very good.
So you know Docker, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Portainer is basically like a Docker web GUI wrapper, make Docker look amazing.
Okay.
So it wraps Docker essentially, and then allows you to have a web interface in front of it. So like, for example, I don't know if this will, okay, cool. It opened up as well. I can see on the stream here. So if I go to like Portainer, dot home, nope, that's the new, dashboard. That's homepage, by the way. So for those who don't know, is it? Yeah, it's 9,000. Yeah. Okay. I just set this up, so not too long ago, like a couple days ago. I've been meaning to do it because a lot of stuff is Dockerized now, and I just been lazy. To I'm not gonna do that over here. What am I doing? I've just been lazy to uh like set up a container. Basically, is what it really boils down to. Uh, I've done so much Docker stuff. I just do it on a direct VM or LXC. So, but yeah, so here's Portainer, and Portainer itself actually runs as a Docker container. It's kind of funny. Uh, but it then like runs as a supervised, what they call a supervised Docker container, which means that it has basically host level access essentially. So it can do a lot more stuff at the host level. So it can give you like network readouts, volume access, so you can access certain folders on the host, uh, things like this. So you can actually see a bunch of stuff that you would not typically normally be able to see from a Docker container because it's more isolated. Um, and then your homepage. There's just a self-hosted app that I found, and I'll show you a really cool repository. I'll show everyone here a really cool repository after we're done looking at this. That you can find like a bunch of self-hosted type of software that you can do to fit your needs of whatever you want. And if you want to play around, like set up a home lab or uh, even just like play around with software just to have fun and get more experience. It's a really cool website. It's a GIST that's out there on GitHub. So it's got paperless. Paperless is not in the Docker. I could have just thrown it up in Docker. If you go over here into containers, you can do like add container. You could search the Docker hub. So this is like if we go search here, it'll bring you to Docker Hub's website, and then like you can just do like paperless, for example. And if paperless, I know for a fact it's not on Docker. Someone's forked it and created their own Docker Compose file, obviously, as you see here. It was done 2 years ago. But there is a paperless NGX. They actually host their own Docker Compose file. So they make it a little more difficult, but you can just simply run a command. The cool thing about Portainer is it integrates to the local Docker system fully. So even if, like, for example, you can't do it this way because it's not on Docker's like hub, if you run your command like to create your Docker Compose like on the server itself through like SSH, it'll actually read it right back in here. And that's exactly what I did with Home Lab. So Home Lab is let me see. Home Lab was the one that did it. Oh, look at that. No, it's years ago. There's no way that's it. 25 days ago, paper said you're Russian, OCR installed. Yeah, so people are basically forking it and creating their own, essentially. Um, but that's exactly what homepage. Homepage didn't have anything on Docker's hub, but they had their own image. So I basically just used the command that they gave in their GitHub, and then it just popped right into Portainer. Kind of cool. I'm rambling. Sorry. So paperless is here. So theoretically, I should be able to refresh this and get something, but I'm not. What's the IP? You got an IP for me, buddy? Nope. What's my console look like? Did I already refresh this thing? Nope. Don't even know if I put the password correctly. Probably not. Obviously, I didn't. Let's see if I can do SSH that. All right. Paperless dots. I could have swore I set up paperless here. Yeah. Okay. Paperless NGX. I did it the hard way, of course. I could have done it through Docker, like as you see here. I did it the hard way. Of course I did. Masochist. Yeah, as you see here, they have THC har paperless. Okay, well that sucks. I don't know why. Oh, for 8,000 maybe. I don't know. Anyways, Paperless is a really cool website. You should check it out. Or home app. Let's see if we can do it through just their Docker command here. Let's just test out our. Let's test out how cool our Portainer is. Obviously, I'm not gonna put a bunch of stuff on it, but from Docker Hub. Make their papers, log in with your user, and create a folder for home directory to have bigger configurations and file assumptions directory. Okay, so let me go and do that. You're not seeing what I'm doing there, but I am logging into my Portainer. One moment. You're not able to see that, right, Nick, on the stream? Me logging in?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I still see the paperless
yeah.
web.
Wow. Okay, so let's see what the directions say. Make a dir for log with your user and create a folder in your home directory. Okay, sure. Make dir dash paperless dash ngx. Okay. Go to the Docker Compose directory project. The Docker Compose directory on the project page, and download the YAML. I shouldn't have to. Okay, but whatever. Don't want to use Docker Hub. You said that we're using Docker Hub. Install Docker and Docker Compose. But you said you were using Docker Hub. That's not using Docker Hub. Lies. This thing lies. Because it has to pull from their own. Okay. This thing liar. When use Postgres is a single background. Yeah, I gotta go set all this stuff up. Too much work, but I had it running. But essentially, what it is, let's just go back to like talk about what it is and how it works. So essentially, I have a little demo here too. You know how like you have a Wi-Fi scanner at home?
Yes.
Okay, and so like you know how like when you scan your document, it goes into like you can put it like on network folder, and it'll go in like scan 35, scan 36, scan 37, scan 38. You know, kind of useless, right? So this thing basically goes and looks at that and OCRs it, and then basically extrapolates the text out of it, and then allows that to be searchable, and it also tries to name the document for you. Yeah,
That's pretty ingenious.
yeah. So basically, because like 9 times out of 10, if I scan that document and I'm just trying to get like stuff done and scan, right? There's no way in heck am I ever going back to that folder and actually touching that file and renaming it and filing it away. Like unless I'm like in scan mode and like I'm like in file mode, that like in my brain and I'm just like put this time aside to do it. I'm just basically scanning it so I don't lose it, essentially. Like let's just be honest, right? We're just scanning it so we
Yep.
don't lose
Yep.
it. So it's kind of cool that like it does that because like if you scan it, you don't lose it. And if you ever really do have to sort and file that later on, you can, but
Mhm.
you don't need to, right? Because it already is in here, and that you can create like tags, correspondence, document types, storage paths. You can do all of this stuff right in here, and you can even hook it up into mail and mail accounts. So you can hook up your mail accounts in this, yeah. So you can search all of your documents basically. It'll only filter for emails that have attachments, right? And so you can search all your documents in one shot, which is pretty handy if you're a very heavy document driven company.
Yep. Or you have an inbox that you never delete anything out of.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can tell you, like, I used to be like one of those. I won't call them nutcases. There's probably a lot of people that are watching this podcast that do the same exact thing, where they basically create folders and they file away everything that comes into their inbox. I used to do that, and I used to be like super anal retentive about it. And I used to like, I couldn't have like a single item in my inbox, or I'd freak out, or a single unread message, and I'll freak out. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, I don't care, and everything goes into my inbox as long as I've taken care of action. Like that's it. That's all I care about.
I am still one of those nutcases.
Oh, I told you there's gonna be someone. It was you already.
Yeah. Yep. And that's part of the reason why I haven't upgraded to the new Outlook, because it does away with all the existing rules I have built. And um, I would say that I today still have at least 60 rules uh, for day-to-day emails, just to kind of categorize it, prioritize it for me, so I don't even have to think about it.
But does that only in work, or do you do that for your personal as well?
For my junk email, don't care.
Right, it's junk, of
For my
course.
personal stuff. For my business or professional email, I still have rules set up on that.
So what about like
Um,
your personal email that's not your junk email, like your daily email for like signing up to accounts that like actually mean something to you, like Apple or something like that?
yeah, all that has rules, color coded flags. They go to specific folders.
Good for you.
Uh, yeah, well, there's a very limited number of emails I get there on a daily basis. Like I would say sub 100 on a typical day.
Oh God, wish that was my inbox.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why, and I, work wise, I go with the zero rule. End of the
Right,
day, I'm down to zero.
right.
Now, if you send me something after I've shut my computer down for the day, that's on you.
Yeah.
Um, but
What about
yeah,
like so is that like a zero unread message rule, or is that zero like file rule as well?
everything is filed. There's nothing left unread.
Wow. Wow. Everything filed. That's hardcore. Like unread, I get it. Like unread, like I'm at work at least. I'm obsessed with that way as well, right? Like I gotta have unread.
Mhm.
But you know me, I have the nuke all button, so like, and I use it. I use it
Yeah,
very often.
yeah.
Because I'm in so many distribution lists that I get so many emails that mean absolutely zero to me.
Hmm.
From a day to day base or any other thing. I don't even I have rules that like don't even put it in the trash. It's just bye. Like Nick,
Yeah.
goodbye.
No,
Um,
I completely understand that. I mean, in support, there's all sorts of reports that you're looking at in the morning, midday, end of day, looking for outages, or hey, the network decided to stop working for 5 seconds. Well, there's 30 to 300 emails right there.
yeah.
Uh,
And like the constant like reports that you get every morning or every night, like her like just
mhm.
automated processes, and you're like, why did you put me on this distribution list? I have nothing to do with this. Like,
Well,
thanks LDAP copy.
Part of my cheat is, fortunately, now that I work from home, it only bothers my wife, but uh, specific tones play. Here's a
Uh,
tone that's really short and means this doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah.
Or if you look at it in the next week, you're good. Whereas this tone means you got 5 minutes or less.
Oh, Thomas Brown, what's up, man? How you doing? Sorry, I didn't see you in the chat. I have no idea how long ago you wrote that. I apologize, did not see that in the chat. Hey, Thomas. Um, but yeah, dude, the uh, the tone thing. I get it. Like if it's like something that's
Mhm.
urgent, right? Like if it's like a
Mhm.
like 911 inbox, right? And like so like you have to have like immediate action on that. Like I get
Yep.
having a tone, but I have literally on purpose shut off all tones that come from Outlook, like because it would just drive me up the walls bonkers.
It took some learning and adapting. Um, Part of it is just muscle memory. I mean, if you've ever seen The Office, they have a good skit where every time a tone goes off, Dwight reaches out for a piece of gum. It's become second nature after a while, but yeah, there's the days where it's like, okay, I'm shutting down Outlook for a project so that I can focus.
Yeah, I mean, I wish, like, just generally speaking, right, that I mean, it's a hard wish, right? Because you don't
Mhm.
have control, especially in a larger company, like that. They would just clean up their old app, like
Mhm. Mhm.
and IT would just keep LDAPs, like the teams would just keep LDAPs clean, and
Mhm.
stop copying legacy profiles. And I know, I've been there, done that, right? So I've been an IT
Mhm.
consultant for years. I worked as a sysadmin. I worked as a security consultant, and I get it. Old habits die hard. You have old profiles, and you know that if you copy that profile, that user's going to have all the access they're going to need, and you're not going to get any kind of crap, and you don't have to worry about going back in and fixing up security permissions because you try to be like more tight and stringent on your profile sets.
Mhm.
But with that being said, it also puts them in 90 million groups that user does not care about.
Agreed.
Oh my god. Um, what else? What else is in the tech world today?
Well, I won't say my company, but AI.
Oh god. I should roll you over
just,
and out to the street for
just,
saying that coin term. I hate that term so bad with a
yeah,
passion.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But it's probably the number one word I hear or phrase used in a phrase today.
Yeah, I mean, it's been such a hardcore coin term for like management and buzzwords for management. Like,
Hmm.
um, but it has no true bearing as far as what it is. I mean, everyone thinks AI is something new. It has been around. So those who don't know, if you ever watch this video, and I hope you do, AI has been around for decades. It is now 2024. I remember writing algos years and years and years and years ago that did automatic AI stuff that you consider as today, using LLMs years ago. Now, keep in mind, years and years and years ago, when we were writing these LLMs, we did not have nowhere near the compute horsepower we have in today's world. And basically, the hardware has finally caught up to the programming, essentially. And so we wrote a bunch of stuff back in the day that we used LLMs, we used all that stuff. Obviously, it's got way more sophisticated, and the algorithms have gotten stupid sophisticated. Um, but generally speaking, AI has been around for forever. It's just nothing but algorithms and automation. So with large language models, or even small language models, or even quad language models. So there's a bunch of different types of models, but um, it's been around forever. That's just that simple. And there's nothing anybody can say to tell me different and tell me like, oh, AI is a new thing. No, it's not. Sorry, it's just not. Uh, I mean, I know like ChatGPT is an amazing thing, especially for content writing.
Yep.
I use it heavily for content writing. Don't get me wrong. It can fluff the crap out of a 5 word sentence, and 9 times out of 10, that's what you need.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to write that 25-page long email. You want to put five bullet points and let it write it for you. I get it. But as far as like it end all be all, or it's doing it's making your bread and buttering your toast at the same time. It's not. Sorry. It gets things wrong all the time, and I'm pretty sure you've come and encountered that plenty of times yourself.
Yep.
Can you name one time that you spotted ChatGPT's mistake like instantly? You're like, ah.
I think I was using to build a job description for a new role that we're bringing on, and we're just trying to, hit the bullet points, make it sound pretty,
Right.
because we just didn't have the time to sit there and do it, but like it at least would give us a rough draft, and it was just like, um, it didn't even make sense to me, and I put the words into it. Like it did not have the context for what it was talking about. And so okay, my prompts maybe they could use a little bit of cleanup, but it was just like,
Sure.
okay, take these bullet points, say this is a job, go. And,
Sure.
and
Sure.
it's like, it came out to something like, I couldn't tell if you were going to be a short order cook at a Denny's or you were going to be the new CEO of this big tech startup.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Do do you know?
context is everything.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you know what stable diffusion is inside of AI, as
No.
they call it? So typically it's used for images, essentially.
Okay.
Like when you ask like ChatGPT to create you an image. Yeah, you get some funny ones with that. My favorite one is I seen Danny DeVito riding on a horse backwards. So it was kind of funny. Um, and then but stable diffusion, like, what I end up doing is like AI kind of knows AI itself. We'll call it that way. It's self-aware. It's like ChatGPT knows ChatGPT. So what I end up doing is like when I'm writing into I hook obviously up into the APIs like when I'm doing some programs or something like that to leverage ChatGPT's LLMs, but like I will tell it to write me a stable diffusion prompt to be able to then generate the image based upon it. Because if I just write like what I would want to do, and it would understand I want to generate an image, and you would think it would write its own stable diffusion prompts in the background based upon what I'm wanting, right? No, it doesn't do that. So I have to basically write it and tell it, hey, generate me a stable diffusion prompt based upon these characteristics, and then it will then generate that stable diffusion prompt nicely. It'll put out like a really nice stable diffusion prompt. I'll feed that back into ChatGPT, and I'll typically get roughly what I want.
Mhm.
But you would think that with all this power, that it would say, okay, you're trying to create an image, which means that you're probably going to want to use a stable diffusion prompt. So therefore, when you ask me to create you an image, I should probably create in the background a stable diffusion prompt and then feed that into my own algorithm to create you the image. Nope, it doesn't do that. So yeah, it's a ChatGPT has its own fun things and everything else. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a thing that we at least a lot of the stuff I deal with on a day to day basis. Uh, there's no need for it. 9 times out of 10. Besides content writing, again, content writing, I think I really think it does. Maybe minus your job description. I
Yeah. Yeah.
think it does a really good job. Have you used it for uh like writing any kind of SQL boilerplates?
I've used it to make a couple rough templates, just to simplify my, workload at the time. But given the some of the stuff may be considered proprietary. Um, don't risk it. So, but it's definitely a tool that I know a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, a good quantity of developers utilize it as a tool. Um, but
Well, I know me
yeah.
personally, like not really not really at the company we work for, but
Mhm,
uh, I know that personally, like I've used it. I almost slipped there. You heard that?
mhm,
I know that I've heard that I use it for like in like console applications, like kind of like the one we were doing the other day, right? Like where we're
mhm, mhm.
creating for the audit log report.
Yep.
Uh, I've wrote like little console applications like that constantly, and but I do like for each loops, or I'll do like data libraries or something like that, and I'll use it for something like that. Just be like, all right, create me a base method to do that, because I don't feel like writing all the base method stuff. I've wrote it like 1,000 times, so why would I want to write it again when I can just have it like automatically do it? Um,
Yeah.
but there's other things like, for example, like websites out there like JSON to C# class. Like this thing is sick. It'll basically take your JSON that you import it and put it, or
Mhm.
XML or whatever the heck it is, and create a C# class out of it. You don't gotta do anything else. It's boom, there it's done.
Yeah.
And like uh sample person JSON. I don't know. No. No. People JSON. Okay, there you go. So raw. That's a bunch of people. Someone's made this JSON file to have like a sample database, like faker data. That's hilarious. So like if I feed this in, right, and say convert, boom, I get my class.
You can share. I don't see it.
Oh, I forgot the transition. I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's fine.
I'm still new
You're
to
good.
this whole live broadcasting stuff. I apologize. So yeah. So look at that. I took like some random like JSON data, like which
Hmm.
basically is an object of a person, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and whoever posted this, if this is real data, you should be ashamed of yourself. But we won't go there. Um, but yeah, so here's like this JSON, right? And it has email, city, Mac, timestamp, credit card. Look at that. Boom. C# class already created in an instant, right? And then I can say, okay, I can bring this over to ChatGPT, right? I don't know if I want to show my ChatGPT because it has a bunch of other data on it. Hold on. Yeah, because there might be personal data on there. There you go. Okay, so I can do it like this. See if I can. Yeah, there we go. So you say like, please give me a method in C# that accepts this class, a list of this class, and iterates through the list and returns a dictionary of the what we have in that thing, person of the person's name and email. And then I'm sorry, here is, I mean, sorry, trying to do it, the referenced class. I mean, even try to already do it like with that, but there you go. So as you see, it busts out the class. It has the dictionary right there, or a method right here that returns a dictionary of a string and a string, which is what I asked, an email and a name. It has a list of the root. They call it root class. It should be called like person class or whatever, but whatever. And then for each root and roots, like for each person in the person class or list, go ahead and as long as the name and email is not null, add this to the dictionary. Return the dictionary. like, here's your program class list, stuff a couple people into it, right? They even like give you sample JSON, stick thicker data right there already created for you, right? And then they're
Mhm.
basically just giving you an example of how it works. That is absolutely insane that they can do this. Uh, and for someone who like doesn't know how to program, and they're trying to learn. It's an insane
Mhm.
tool, you know.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. The problem is though, like for someone who doesn't know how to program, I don't know if they're gonna be able to write that prompt
No.
because there's a lot of technical terms in that prompt. Classes, for each, dictionary. Like, how would they know to even like say the word dictionary, right, or whatever? Or how would they know to say a method, right? Like, they don't even know what a method is. So it's a great tool to learn. It's a great tool for someone like me who's been programming for decades to cheat with, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's an extension of what you already know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think like, yeah, it's a helping tool basically.
yeah. I do. We've talked about this before, but I do like how you apologize to ChatGPT. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
You're
actually
so
had that
polite.
we had that conversation before this. Like, I'm very nice to my AI. I say please give me. I usually right there. Please give me a, or I'm sorry. Like, I treat it like a human being. Yeah, it's kind of silly, but I don't know. Like you
Hey,
said, when AI takes over the world and we have robots, they'll be like, they'll spare me.
absolutely. Yep. He was nice to us.
Uh, I don't know. We've been running this stream for about, I don't know. We're approaching up on the hour and a half mark.
Mhm.
Uh, you want to go ahead and wrap this up? You want to talk about something in your own personal life or your own experience that you in tech, and give us a funny story?
I don't know if I have anything funny about, especially when it comes to tech,
Or
off the top of my
how
head.
about exciting story, that something you figured out and you're really proud of yourself?
Oh, I found this guy at work who makes my job a whole lot easier because he knows all this stuff forwards and backwards. Um, been learning a little bit about C# from him, and it's figuring out it's still a viable and great tool. I mean, I won't say that he does all the work. He makes him work for it a little bit, but really he does all the work.
No.
Yeah,
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but I know you're talking about the table.
yeah,
We're
yep.
talking about the table behind you. uh, no, I mean, have you done? I mean, have you felt like any kind of like you made any kind of accomplishment this year with any kind of things you've done or learned? Let's put it that way.
Um, well, I'd say in the support role, an issue that we've been running to in the last year is that we have a lot of, let's say, legacy applications, and the teams that support those, or the just the skill set that people had when they developed it, but they're either moved on to a new project so they don't have time for it. It's been learning a general working knowledge of a lot of different applications, reading bits and pieces of different code. So, learning framework, um, whether it's .NET, or just applications in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's been slow going because it's when you have time to be self-taught and or ask the right questions. So example, you can use ChatGPT to as an extension of what you already know, but if you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Absolutely.
um, but it does help point you in the right direction sometimes with like, okay, I don't know what this means. Well, now I have something else I could look up. Um, and move that much closer. But
And do you
and then
think,
sharing with other teams.
yeah, do you think that when you said like have something to look up, do you think that that curiosity is something you need to have like built inside of yourself, or do you think that can be learned over time? Because like the whole point of this show is kind of like the person who's sitting there at work, right, and
Mhm.
or a business owner, and they know that something can be done or automate something, or they want to figure something out, but they're afraid to step into it and actually do it because they think it's going to take
Mhm.
forever, or they're not smart enough, or what, there's self-doubt or whatever. But do you think that has to be kind of built within inside of you to have that drive to figure it out, or do you think that can be kind of learned over time as you start gaining more confidence by learning?
Both. I mean, some people are naturally inquisitive. Some people make great analysts by just their personality.
Or
But then you
and
have
breaking
other
stuff.
people. Yep, yep. That's I can reverse engineer stuff and I can break it. Or the age old. What happens if someone does this? No one would ever do that. But what happens if you do?
Well,
And I'm that. That's my personality. Whereas there's people that I've worked with and they want to, whether it's improve their productivity level or how quickly they can get tasks done, um, or simply their job now calls for it. May not have been in the original job description, but I think anybody can learn anything. And yes, there's all these great applications and tools, and yeah, there's probably a video on YouTube for it. The only
right?
downside with YouTube that you have to know the right source, and hopefully, if anybody has a question like that, I know a guy. He'll tell you a couple of good, resources because anybody can make a video, but something that's quality or easy to kind of follow or understand, that's tough. But you
Yeah,
can learn it. Absolutely. I mean, you made me a believer if I wasn't already.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it just initially it takes a lot more time just because you don't know what you don't know. But as you kind of build that rhythm, it definitely becomes easier. I mean, let's say my SQL skills, they're still not great. I would not say that I have any business writing, big, expensive reports, but I can make way and it saves me oodles of time from doing things manually.
sure.
Um, and that's
Anytime you can
just,
be in SQL and not in Excel, yeah, for sure.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, I mean, if anyone has any interest, it's certainly doable. It's, but they have to want to.
yeah.
Um, it's not going to be a miracle. Hey, I clicked on this thing. I mean, you can go to GitHub and pretty much find a lot of what you need. But
I mean, as you saw
um,
today, right?
yeah, but as I said, GitHub is an extension of some of what you know. It will give you a lot of what you may not know, but it comes down to you sure you want to execute that against a production environment when you don't really know what it's doing?
Absolutely,
Um, yeah.
absolutely. Countless oodles of time that I've seen that in
Yep.
probably times I shouldn't have seen that, and I should have more deniability.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I, my biggest thing is like, so one thing I strive here at my techie is that a lot of my clients, when they first expect new clients, at least when they come here, they kind of just expect me to do it and take care of it, which obviously I will. Like that, there's no question about that. Um, but I'm always a huge proponent of like I deal mainly with smaller or medium sized businesses. I don't like to deal with enterprise. It's easier money, but I don't want to deal with it
Mhm.
because there's red tape, there's constant corporate hierarchies, there's political correctness, bureaucracy that I just don't want to deal with.
You have
Um,
to get approval from 9 people before you can move forward
right.
versus two.
Or even just like, the need of people having to understand things that they will never understand, right? I'm trying to micromanage it or whatever. So, um, my huge thing here is like I like to educate the owners or the major contacts that I'm taking care of the task for. Whether that be at like a 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 foot level, at least they have some knowledge of what's going on with the implementation of whatever they're asking me to do. Because like they'll ask me to take care of something, and maybe that particular thing is just a simple task and it's done, right? And there's really nothing
Mhm.
more to discuss. You know, it's a simple thing, get it done, okay, it's done. But like if it's a larger project, the implementation, there's a lot of things on there that, for example, post management, right? I mean, if I implement something, who's going to manage it afterwards? I'm a consultant. I'm not an MSP. So yeah, I'll take care of your thing. I'll implement it for you. You'll have a server up and running. It'll do your task. You'll have a paperless server, for example. But who's going to manage that server? Who's going to update that server? Who's going to make the MySQL upgrades or the Postgres upgrades, the apt upgrades, whatever it is? Who's going to back it up? Where's the backups located? Right? So a lot of people go, "Oh yeah, our server's backed up. You know, our server's in the cloud. Our server's this." Yeah, sure it is, and yeah, I've set it all up. But where in the cloud, right? Like as you looked up, right? Where in the cloud you're looking? If as they say,
It's
right?
in the cloud.
As I say, and kids cover your ears. If shit hits the fan, right? Where is it going to be? Where are you going to get that backup, right? Where's that backup located, right? And that's what I try to like impress on to my clients is like I want to have you have like at least a 5,000 foot level, so when that thing happens, you at least know where to grab that backup, or you at least know where to go run, right? I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're probably gonna call me, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, but what if I get by a bus? That's my famous one of my largest clients that I've had for years and years. Bessie Pettit, if you're there, I love you. You've been an amazing client. Thank you. And she used to say that saying all the time. It's like, you know, if you get hit by a bus, I'm like, yeah, if I get hit by a bus, it can happen. And if it happens, well, then my clients are up a creek paddle. I do document things, but then again, where's the documentation? Oh, it's in the cloud. Yes, it is. It's in the cloud. It sure is.
Yeah.
So, uh, what do you have to say for those people that are hesitant to learning new things or trying to do things or diving in? That's the question. But we'll wrap it up with that.
Stop. It's pretty simple. So stop hesitating because the dread of waiting and thinking about it is way worse than actually just pulling the trigger and getting started. Um, just having a general understanding, like you said, like you want your clients to have the, let's call it the meat and potatoes, nuts and bolts, a practical understanding of what you're doing for them. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to do it, but there's literature on it.
Sure.
They can stumble their way through it and get through. It's like, spending a focused time for a couple weeks, or you can even say in a month, 90 days from now, like you're just gonna make your life so much better. It's not like an infomercial. Drink this, your life will be so much better. But
Red Bull gives you
really,
wings.
absolutely. Actually, no, it doesn't. So my company told me. But that's a whole other story.
AI gives you wings.
Yeah. Or $10 coupon because it doesn't actually give you wings. But no, it's more stressful thinking about all the things that you could possibly maybe dip your feet into, but actually just pulling the trigger and getting started. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and really, it's a lot easier because it's not that this is new technology. Like something is whether if you want to learn SQL, it's not brand spanking new.
By
It's been
no
around.
means.
Yeah.
Longer than I've been alive.
Yeah. And you're probably not going to be the first person to ask whatever question you have.
Yeah.
There's probably a YouTube video for that.
Stack Overflow article.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Absolutely. See, that's where all the literature is.
Thank you for the owners of Stack Overflow. You've been amazing.
have to make sure to put a note in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% self-taught, right? So, I've been around the block. Uh, those who don't know, if you ever watch this video and you want to know a little more about me, that's fine. But I'll give you a quick summary. I grew up building my own machines. My dad was one of those people who did not. I'll try to make a long story short here without going into a rant because we've already tried to wrap it up a couple of times. But basically, my dad was one of the people that didn't want to, buy a pre-built computer. So he built it on his own. I helped him build that computer. I was reading the manual. He was putting it together with his hands because he didn't want me to touch the components and blow something up, anti-static strap and all that fun stuff. Back then, electronics were a little bit more adept to shorting versus today's world. I mean, you can pretty much rub a plastic bag on a motherboard and it'll probably survive. But it's I went through that, and I grew up playing a game called Counter-Strike. If you guys are not familiar with that game, it's a very popular game, first-person shooter. I was young, and I learned how to program from playing that game. I played that game. I liked the game. Grew up and created a clan, as they call it, or a group of people that played together. They wanted a website. I started learning how to program in web. We needed to learn how to store people in the database, so I had to learn how to program the back end of the web. Started learning PHP, MySQL. Started programming in SQL. And from there it just kind of took off. I was managing servers. I was setting up servers. At one point in time, Mom, Dad, I love you guys. I had about 10 or 11 computers along the wall of our house and my bedroom. And my bedroom was basically a furnace. And thank you, Mom and Dad, for putting up with all that crap. I really do appreciate it, because without that, I wouldn't be here to what I am today. And so that says something. If you ever doubt yourself, think of that story. 10 computers along a wall in a bedroom in a 1,000-square-foot house. You do the math.
Expensive heating.
Expensive cooling, Southern California. I was expensive heating it because it's already electrical, and then expensive to cool it because it's already heated. But that was back when PayPal first started, and so thank you for all the people who paid admin $5 a month. So, yeah, it's a pleasure having you on, Nick. I look forward to some more podcasts with you. We have a lot of good talks together outside of this, and this is kind of just one of those relaxed chats that we always kind of have, and just a little bit more professional, probably a lot more less profane.
Yeah.
But I look forward to doing another tech talk with you. Maybe hopefully next month or next week's talk will be a lot more structured, more than this, but I think it was fun.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, right now we don't have any viewers, obviously, and there's 3 people watching. I'm one of them. Nick, you're probably the other, and there's probably one out there. So Thomas, you're still watching. Hey, buddy.
Thanks, Tom.
And I hope it's more for content, right? So hopefully the content stays there. People learn something from it. If not, then whatever. I'm giving back to the same community that taught me over the years, because again, being self-taught. So that's the whole point. With that being said, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a day.
All right. Well, thanks for having me again, and look forward to next time.
Alrighty, I'm gonna flip it on over, and we're gonna roll the outro.